It's a Monday.
Monday's in the studio.
I wish what are you eating?
Oh,
Max's Tic Tacs.
yeah.
Why
I feel like they're kind of hidden there, and now they're like, because they don't like, no one's eaten them for a while. It's like my Fireball, matches, and Tic Tacs. It's like a little party all in one corner.
It really is a little party. So it's spring. Not yet. It's freezing AF outside.
But Thursday it's going to be warm.
But raining.
I
just want some sunshine.
I really do feel though, like as a you know how I get as a parent just like a little bit lazier in the spring.
You do.
And everything just wears. It's like you only have so much stamina, you know, to like
Babe,
keep
we've only
everything
been
going.
4 months into the year, only 3 months.
But
school year.
The year is September.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And it's September. I mean, it is April. And I was thinking, I don't like downtime in the shoulder seasons. So shoulder seasons being, it's too cold to go outside. Listen, some kids are going outside.
Yeah.
But I find the tween teen years hard because they go to bed late. They don't have a lot to do if they don't have an activity because they do so much during the school year. There's a cadence to finding like how to be like bored, like how to like come down from school, but they come home at like 3:00 and then they're up till 10. That's a whole nother day. That's a whole nother day of like being in the world.
It's funny because I feel like that was such like a really hard time when the kids were younger. But I don't feel like in my house that there is that time.
Well, you have baseball.
And baseball's going to start. And if they have a little bit of time, they often actually do go outside.
Yeah, but right now they won't.
They will. They go outside.
When it's cold out.
Like they just go out there and then, but there's only still little tiny windows that are about to be replaced. But one of them, it'll be interesting because one of them doesn't have baseball. And I'd be like, how are we going to replace that time? Because I know what you mean. Like if you're not going outside and playing, what are you doing with all that time?
No.
Like you're going to need to get a hobby. But there's not it's kind of hard because it's like you want to keep them busy. No, you know what? You just do want to keep them busy. Fuck, because I'm not into entertaining them. And they don't know how to entertain them. So what would you do? Like, what did we do with I always be at my friend's house.
Yeah, friends' houses.
Just always be at
I
the
don't
friend's
know
house.
what it's like to be a boy though, but I was saying to Nat yesterday, I was like, do boys go and I see them actually all walking home after school in groups.
Yeah.
But like
my brother was always at his friend's house.
So like what are they doing there?
Oh, it's a good question. Yeah, I think video games or playing street hockey, or if they have an indoor gym, playing basketball.
Like, so I was thinking of what the kids, well, clubbing's down like universally so going out's universally down for kids. Like they're not going out like we used to. Friday, Saturday would come around. See ya. Like I was out all the time with my friends. We were never home. There was no like home. There was always a plan Friday night. And it wasn't like, what are you doing? It's what are we doing this Friday night? And even if there was nothing going on, a bunch of us would get together and go to someone's house.
Yes.
Like in the basement.
What is like it? And I ask other people's like teenagers, and there are definitely like you'll talk to some teenage parents like, oh, my kids are always out. They're always like at a party or a get together and stuff like that. But there are more parents, and I'm like, what do your kids do on Friday and Saturday nights? So like, hang with us.
I know.
Like so nobody hung with their parents back in the day.
I don't even think I had parents back in the day. Like when I think back to parents, they were never part of my equation in my teen years. There was no parents in my brain. I
remember your friend who came here from New York. We were sitting like outside, for the days when she was visiting. And she's like, it's so funny that your kids are all around us. I never remember being around my parents.
We were never around our parents.
Why would we want to sit? I would only sit by well, I guess I did spend summers right with no one else. But like I would, when my mom had her friends over, I'd want to come and listen to what they were talking about. But your friend was like, I didn't care what parents were talking about.
Me neither. Or my parents were just, we'd have to like have conversations or help out. So like I'm gonna get out of Dodge, so I don't have to go do the dishes. Like
Things have really, 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 really changed.
I don't think for the better.
It hasn't been that long.
I don't think it's for the better.
I don't think so either.
To be honest with you, when I look at and I was watching like something on Instagram. Listen, I know Instagram's not all real, but actually factually, kids like bars are not popular anymore. Like they don't go clubbing. They don't go to dance clubs. If you heard our podcast, you know what I mean by that. They're doing like coffee dates. Listen, I'm not saying that's boring, but there is a cultural shift in children being home and around more than ever. Ever.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because it's not relatable to the way we grew up.
I actually think it's a problem. I actually think it's
another problem. Oh, God.
No, I do think it's a problem because I think if I'm, we have a screen sense guide.
We need some good news.
And before it was just, I know, what's good today? I said to him, like, what the fuck is good today?
No, I just mean like good news with kids. Like I
think there is good news. I think there is good news because I think we're recognizing that we've gone too far one way. I do think there's good news in recognizing that there's a problem because we can fix it. Before, if we just let it go, then there's no good news. But when I'm doing all this research and like reading so many studies on screens, because before I think when you begin to understand why the screen's so problematic, you begin to understand the behaviors. So what I mean by that is they feel like their world is on this screen. So they don't feel lonely because they're actually connected, or so they think, in a world that doesn't exist. So it's like they think they're very busy.
And they have so many friends.
But they're not. So when you begin to see that, when you begin to understand their world, you begin to understand their behavior. And the Screen Sense Guide is like so much more. We've added so much into it now. The understanding and the knowledge of like why we as parents need to help out and step in. And it's not like, oh, they're going to be terrible kids. It's just helping them understand why living in that world isn't real. And I'm teaching them, like, this is not real.
You know what's weird? I just like thought about this. Our parents used to say, put them in sports so they don't become addicted to drugs, right? So that they don't go off and like hang out at their friends' houses and just smoke weed all the time and then, do drugs all the time. Like, so when I think about a lot of kids in our high school time that didn't have sports.
We did drugs.
Did drugs and alcohol. And, there's a lot of boys that have come from that, like guys that we knew that went to high school that
we're actual drug dealers,
but also like they couldn't become successful adults because there is like evidence that especially in young teenage boy brains, if they do too much marijuana, then it can fuck up the chemicals and they can become schizophrenic, bipolar, depressed, anxiety. So it was all this. It was like that was the worry, and now it's like the same thing. Like because I'm realizing right now how important putting them in teams and extracurriculars is keeping them busy and hours of like time that they can't be doing something else. Now it's like, it's a different worry because now it's online. Before it was like, what kind of trouble are you going to find yourself in the real world? Yeah. Now it's what kind of trouble you're going to find yourself in the online world. Parents' struggles, will always going to be really, there's always going to be something to be really worried about, but it's kind of funny how it's shifted. It's like our parents' worries wouldn't be the worries we have now.
No.
And our worries aren't what our parents had. Both are bad.
Both are bad. Well, yeah, you always have to, there's always a worry with kids because fuck.
But it feels sometimes like, our worries are so big and bad right now. But they were back then too, just in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember a lot of parents having to do like, what was that called?
Recognizance?
No. What was it called? When you had to kick out your kid? There was a thing.
Oh, tough love.
It was called tough love. And it's if your kid does not stop doing that. And I remember, so I can like list off. I saw one of the guys like sisters at the rink, and I was like, Mom, I'm like, remember her? And her brother was a skinhead. And they had to do tough love, which means they kicked them out of the house until they were able to come back and live with the family. I remember this so much.
Yeah, that was a big thing, kicking people out of the houses.
Yeah, it was called tough love, and it was like your last resort after you've tried everything with these kids. And there was so
you like get out of the house, and then they go and live in their friend's house.
Yeah,
and then they're talk bad about the parent, and then you bring them back in, and they're still bad, and then not bad. There's no like bad kids, but they do naughty things because they get in the wrong.
But as parents, we all like, it's going to be in like next generation, it's going to be something else.
Oh gosh. I mean,
who knows?
But thank God I don't have to worry about it.
But I know that's for you guys.
But that's for like the people with babies right now.
oh my God, I was going to say something really like irresponsible. It's kind of how I feel about like climate change and stuff. I'm like, I'll be gone by the time this is really bad.
I think it's really bad right now.
My life is fine right now.
Yeah, my life is fine right now.
You know what I mean? But what's going to happen is going to be like in our world is apparently going to be a lot worse. But so I'm thinking like I never realized how important the extracurriculars were, but they are for a different reason than they were before. But they're still like keep them busy.
Not everyone likes extracurriculars either, and that's what's so really.
I would if I was a teenager and my parents made me do extracurriculars. Fuck no, I would have run away.
Well, I think with the bigger thing I'm also learning is that, let's just say in sports, the cell phone is changing the culture of sports too, like dressing rooms and locker rooms, and kids are bringing their cell phones. And I think the stat was like over 79% bring their phones into the locker rooms.
And it's really amazing that some of you guys on our Instagram said absolutely would not be allowed. And I'm like, where is that town? Because it ain't here.
Yeah. And I was actually talking to one of your coaches, who's not a coach, but like part of the thing. And he's like, I wonder if pushback comes from parents who want access to their children because they want their kids to have it. So it's like,
if there's anything going wrong, they're able to reach their parent.
I guess so. But
which is the only reason I initially give my kids the phone in the first place.
I was thinking though that are we at a place in a locker room where we can't, at what point,
trust that it's going to be safe?
Yeah. That's a bigger problem too. Is if I'm like, if your kid's that young that they need to reach you, are you not in the arena somewhere? Like, are you not close by that you're like, you should be around? Like, if they're that young, you're not that far.
Yeah.
They
should be able to run away.
They should be able to. And they're really, I think everyone knows no one's alone in the room with one person. Like every adult knows you don't go into a room with one child. It's not you and adult ever. It's you and three coaches or you and, so I
think also like, as far as that goes, because I would be we were 100% on board with no phones at school. Like keep it in your locker, have it for travel because our kids travel independently.
Yeah.
But we would be 100% on board with not worrying at all that our kids don't have phones in locker rooms or during sporting times. Also, like sort of be in touch with your kid a little bit. Like if you pick them up from a sporting thing and you sense there's something off, like be aware. You know, life is fast and quick, but yesterday I was there for pickup and I noticed a couple of people were a little bit different than they normally would be. And I was like, I've never seen that before. And I inquired and I like, you know, I didn't push. There was a lot of silence in the car on the ride home because I wanted to like have a little bit, let it marinate with silence and then try and get a little bit more out, you know?
Yeah.
Because you could see, so I mean, if you're really, life's fast and it's hard to not see, and sometimes you won't see anything, but you know, it's like I could tell something had happened.
And did you get it out of them?
I got out a basic of the reason for mine.
But you couldn't get the rest.
But, well, I mean, they weren't in my car, but I can only assume it was along the same lines.
Yeah, I was just, as I'm like doing the deep research, I'm like, oh my gosh, what started off as, you know, like protection for screen time, or not protection, just like helping them manage habits. I have come to realize why managing those habits are so important and why we need to put buffers in, because we're expecting them to self-regulate and build habits that are near impossible to build when it's an addiction because of the way the phone works. It's like your brain needs it and the brain's learning that it needs it. And so it's like
literally like a cocaine addiction,
like out of their control. So we're like, control it, but
if you haven't done cocaine, you don't know what that feels like.
So you're like trying to teach them how to control something that is really uncontrollable. And it's like they need the support. So parents are like, oh, if it's not a problem, but if it's always a problem if they just go for it when they're bored, when they can't self-regulate because self-regulation's down.
You know what the other part about that is, like when your kids are really, really, really busy and they finally have some downtime,
which is fine, because if they're searching something, I think the biggest thing is, are they using it? Why are they using it? To entertain themselves for a bit? That's perfect. If they're using it because they're bored or they don't know what else to do with their hands, or they're like, it's like, are they passively on there for hours because they're just don't know what else to do with themselves? Or are they like, oh, I'm going to go like wind down and use my phone for like half an hour. And then when my parents say get off of it, it's like, no problem. It's really how much are you consuming and why? And if you sit there and you don't know how to sit in the car without opening up your phone 7,000 times, that's a problem where you can't just sit in the car without being busy with your brain. It's like, can you just sit in a waiting room and like wait, or do you have to grab something and be entertained for more than? Oh, and the stat was, I think I said this, that our brains are now faster than goldfishes. We need things faster than a fucking goldfish.
Oh, I mean, it's you can see it in everything
like
that
7
people
seconds.
Do. Yeah,
that's scary.
Yeah, I mean, their attention span, it's so hard for teachers because teachers are trying to teach a class when kids are used to getting their information in 5 seconds, you know, and they can learn and they can absorb so much in such a little bit of time that if you drag it out, teachers are like, it's so hard to keep their attention span because I can never compete.
7 seconds.
Can you imagine? You'd have to be like on speed.
1, 2.
It's like you'd have to be, as a teacher, you'd have to be really, really entertaining and effectively teaching to grasp their attention.
And probably have bubbles and like firecrackers and dress up. So they're like,
yeah, boom, 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 dopamine, let's go. And I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think about like just sitting and like if I'm sitting and doing nothing, I feel like I used to like, you know how they always used to have in like waiting rooms and stuff, magazines?
Yeah.
I always used to read magazines, pick up magazines. Didn't like to just sit and do nothing, for sure not.
Yeah.
But their magazines, everything is on there. So it's kind of, it's so
I think is it using you or are you using it? And that's really the big, and I think that when you understand, oh, if you are uncomfortable, let's just say you didn't like what happened in the locker room and you come home and you go on your phone, did you ever have the moment to process that with your parent in the car? Or did you just automatically go and numb it because you went and distracted yourself onto something else rather than being uncomfortable in a feeling and being able to like sit there? Because often when you have a kid, you can see that, like you said, they want to say something, but if they go and get distracted, they don't have to deal with it.
And what a lot of kids do when they're younger, what they would do when they would get bored is they would smoke drugs. It's the same. It's like the same thing.
I think at this point, smoking drugs might be better because you have to go find it. You have to get a dealer. You have to roll it, and then you have to go find somewhere to smoke it. It's not instant gratification unless you're rolling around with drugs in your pocket. But like our 12-year-olds weren't rolling around with drugs in our. You had to go work for that shit. Like you had to work for it. Like you couldn't just like go. You had to find the person and then meet up and then hide it and hope there wasn't like a cop that was undercover that you were buying it from.
New campaign: get rid of phones, find drugs.
It's a
scavenger hunt.
I would think marijuana is at least it's not like you can get it today. Like we would have to go work for the drugs right now. You'd have to go walk even there to get it and drive there. Like you'd have to get money. You'd have to go have money for it.
Fuck, did we get it?
Huh?
It always just came to me. I don't even know
Probably
how I got
friends
it. I don't
had
even
it.
remember paying for it.
Yeah, but even it would be like reasonable amounts often.
Oh yeah.
You know, it would be like, oh, here, let's go do this. But it wasn't. It wasn't 24/7. You couldn't have it all the time unless you were so rich.
Yeah.
And like had a dealer on standby where you could be like, let's go. I'm not saying they're both terrible. I was just saying that it's interesting that the problem has shifted. And I think that when I'm seeing everything a little bit less, like they're a little bit more dull, like teenhood feels like a little bit more like
lame.
Yeah, just like dull. I'm like, this is so boring. Like your phone is so boring compared to what you should be doing in the neighborhoods right now. Like that's boring. Like I'm sorry. And these sanctioned semis, I'm like, this is so boring. Like over at 10:30.
Tell them what a sanctioned semi is.
Oh my God. So okay, listen, I love the idea of them, but you buy tickets to this party. They have security. They have like paramedics. They have all of these people in this like venue that like basically check. You go through a metal detector and you dance and everyone's on something. They all drink so much before they go into the semis because you're not allowed to drink in there. So hopefully they make it. Half of them don't make it because they're barfing before they even get there.
Oh my God, I would never make it. If I was drinking, my drunk wouldn't last 2.5 hours, but I feel like because they're so little, they could be drunk for like 5 hours.
And then they go home and they go to these dances and they all like, I don't even know what sounds terrible. It sounds like a rave.
It's just like a makeout
session. And then they go.
At least they're still making out.
only
Spread
there.
that herpes.
Only there.
I know.
So, and then you go and then you pay a bunch of money to go maybe make out with people and barf on them. And then you go home. I'm like,
did you ever go to all ages clubs?
No.
I didn't either, but I knew a lot of people that went to them, but I never went to them.
I was too cool for that.
I
Don't be
know.
so crazy.
But also a lot of like all ages kind of things, like those like sometimes they'd be like they do drugs because it was like almost like raves.
I just think that the teenhood is so different, and they don't know any different. So they can't really they can't compare. But me watching them, I'm really disappointed for them. Like I really do feel a bit forlorn for them, if that's a word.
And you kind of know the kids that are like still doing it. Like I'm just thinking of a kid in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
When I hear about him and when I see him, I feel like he's kind of living the like old school life.
I have to think of which one.
Meeting up with
but
being
still
crazy on the street, bad ideas, like naughty, goofy, like
but still home by 9, and parents know wherever. Like it's, you know what it is? It's the anonymous, whatever the fuck that word is. It's not knowing your parents, not you having your own life as a teenager without your parents and all of their friends knowing everything you're doing.
I guess the way that you get your privacy is on your phone then.
Well, that's no privacy is by not having a phone and being.
But to your parents. It's like we were keeping secrets in like by them not knowing where we were and what we were doing. They're keeping their secrets online. Only problem is online is shareable. What we did, I mean, it could spread through rumors, but it'd die fast.
It would die so fast. I do feel like teenagers had their own world. Like we had our very own world that, I mean, I remember the conversations and the gossip and the like just like Monday when you'd hear what would happen after the weekend.
Kind of like a walk of shame on Monday morning at school.
It was just, I feel so bad for these kids. They don't get, and they get in trouble for the things they do, like big trouble.
I know.
We didn't get in trouble.
Oh my gosh, really big trouble for little things.
We didn't get in trouble.
It's like the end of the world.
Everything's the end of the world.
Yes.
You do this, end of the world.
Yeah.
It's like they can't just go and fuck up.
Oh
and they
my
should
God.
fuck up because they're teenagers.
I know.
They should go make mistakes. Teenagers should go make mistakes, and everyone needs to chill out because we're so hyper focused on if they're not perfect, we're like, oh my God, you know,
I can't believe how unnaughty kids can be now.
Oh, they
when
can't.
everyone's like, oh, that wouldn't have oh gosh, that would have flowed. The things we would do when we were kids, they can't do anything. Is it just going to get less and less? They're going to be able to do nothing.
They can't do it. They don't do anything right now. There's no rebellion. There's no rebellion, and if you are, you're the worst kid ever. Like there's no space for them to be. You know, there used
a lot
to be,
of them are barfing and doing shots. Actually, shots is a new thing that they're doing. We did not do shots.
I mean, we did shots. We did shots.
Never.
I mean, we played Sentry. Yes, you did. I shot a minute.
First of all, I never did that. I would have died. But it would be beer. Like in our high school, it was beer.
We did keg stands.
Keg stands. So it was beer and
upside down
coolers that were like 5%.
We would shotgun beers.
Yeah, but it wasn't like shots, it wasn't like shots. And even the older ones are still. Everyone's like, oh, they just do shots. Do they do shots because they don't want to have like the mix, the bottles?
Yeah, they get so drunk faster.
So they put the vodka in a water bottle and then you just take a shot of a water bottle and then you've got no evidence of a thing. Like,
I guess because they can't do anything.
When are they going to learn? I mean, my stepdad sat my kids down and he showed them a shot of tequila and he showed them like 3 beers and he was just like, I want you guys to understand the difference between this.
Yeah. I think I'm hopeful that
they want to get drunk faster because they have
to go to parties
because they have short attention spans. So they have a beer and like, I'm not drunk yet. Take a shot. Oh, I'm drunk. Okay, good.
So true. They want to feel faster.
Everything faster.
Everything's like, this is a great idea. Let's do this. Probably that's probably bang on.
Yeah.
But if you think about the rebellion, like they used to dye their hair. Mm-hmm. They used to get piercings. They used to like, go out and make out with someone who you weren't supposed to.
Did you know that they're not allowed to dye their hair at one of our kids' schools?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And if they dye it, they have to dye it back?
Yeah, probably. They're not allowed to wear like they used to do makeup as like a rebellion. There used to be like phases where everyone's like, part of what you do is you rebel to find out who you are. I don't really know rebellion people. I guess you'd get shamed if you rebel. Like you would get like,
I guess. You know, the high school we went to was so nice and big, and I still drive by there, and there's still all the different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Same as it was.
The communities. There's many communities within the big community.
Yeah. It could be anything there. I'll never forget coming from a small school and then going there and realizing you could be anything. Because at the other places, you couldn't really be anything. You had to all kind of be the same.
Yeah, now you can be anything you want to be.
At a big school.
At a really big school. Is it easy? Probably not. Probably same shit every day.
I mean, we never went to school. So.
I mean, is anyone else finding, I personally don't like
or are our kids just lame?
No, I would say overall, I think a lot of parents have their kids home with them on weekends.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if anyone else is like, really? Like, are you not wanting to go do like more? Like, you're
Doesn't
not
seem like it.
Like, you want me to come pick you up? Like, that would be the death of me if my parents were coming to pick me up in grade 9 or 10. Like, a drive? I'm like, you'll smell everything.
I guess the only options for them these days, because again, you can't do anything, is you have an Uber or you have a pickup. And a lot of parents are like, I don't want you going in an Uber. So you pick up because they're not going to take public transit at night anymore.
I mean, you and I would walk home by myself
my God,
in the
I'd
middle.
walk for an hour freezing cold.
With no pants on.
My kids laugh at me. They think I'm exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating.
If you wanted to go out, you had to walk or take the bus.
Yep.
And there was no cab money. Like if someone had like a cab
they
chit,
were rich.
it was like, here's your cab chit. You would be like,
those were rich
my
people.
God, they got a cab
yes.
chit. And now it's like, I don't know kids. How are you getting there? How are you getting home? I'm like, you're 16 and someone's asking, how are you getting there? Like, I do that. I'm like, no, stop it. Like, stop this.
I know, but at the same time, it seems like there's so much danger on the public transit.
I guess there is.
Farm. Back to the farm we go. Back to the farm. My kids were talking.
Then they're drinking and driving.
Oh, that's true. They do. We were talking about these, how our kids get kids get jumped and rolled in our city. And then I was thinking that, that doesn't happen where my sister-in-law lives. There's no jumping. People don't get jumped. They're all from the same community.
Oh, you don't think so?
They would no.
No jumping.
No jumping and punching in the face and stealing each other's iPhones and watches.
No jumping. Yeah, jumping's a huge problem. Being jumped is a huge problem. Jumping, fighting, being jumped. And then you just carry on. Like, I just got jumped. Okay, that's normal.
Your
Not.
poor little face just got punched.
And like usually it's the boys who get jumped.
I know.
You don't wear certain things. You don't basically.
It sounds like the boys are the jumping situation right now. It's like the girls are like
that. Like they don't have it as bad. I think girls can get jumped too, but it's for doing something.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe just stay home. Second thought.
Chickens.
Maybe actually I'm revert. Maybe I don't want you going out. Maybe I don't want you going out like to roam the streets to get jumped. Like maybe we're good. Maybe we're good. Maybe
I was just thinking my kid is reading a book right now about like this girl who goes to live with her aunt in the it's outside of New York. It's not the Appalachians.
Yeah.
And so it's like the wilderness, and she's decides to stay there, and she's homeschooled. I'm like, well, she's safe.
Oh, God.
Nobody can get to her.
Can't we all just be normal? Like, can we stop the jumping? Can we stop getting naked on subways? Can we just like stop like?
Can we not light up a crack pipe on the subway?
Can we just like? Can we all just kind of like? Can we just sort of chill? Can everyone just chill for a second? Can we just chill? Can we go back to like drinking in parks, like going home and just being worried about taking in a white van? Like that was the biggest worry, being taken in a white van. Now it's all this other shit. Can we just like shh, fentanyl, just. For everyone, just sit down for a second. Let's just pause and go back to like 2000, just for like 1 second. Like just the good old days when you would there's just a bit of rat poison in your marijuana that might have gotten you a little messed up, but just a little bit of rat poison. It wasn't too much rat. Remember the rat poison? Like, oh, that was laced with rat poison. That was our biggest worry. It's getting a little screwed up from rat poison in your marijuana.
And cocaine could be laced with things that give you diarrhea.
What? That was the big. I didn't do cocaine, so
This is your worst worry
was diarrhea. Now just death. Now
exactly
death. Like now just dying. Like it's just dying. Yeah, you can be anything. Just die. You know what your worry is? Death. Great. Let's just go back to rat poison and the good old days when it was you could go out and not get rolled. White vans. You used to worry about white vans. That was our biggest worry. You see a white van, you run.
I wasn't scared of shit back then, except for the white van.
The white van lives the tale today. I don't know who in their right mind is driving a white van.
Especially with tinted windows.
What the fuck are you doing? If you're a man in a white van, you need to learn that you are a kidnapper to all of us. Like even my kids know now, kidnapper van. I'm like, that is a kidnapper van. I mean, listen, there are other kidnapper vans, but a white van, always. There was a white van that drove up and stopped and talked. White van.
Go buy a white van, guys.
Don't.
Bad idea.
If you have a white van, sell it.
Yeah.
And if you have
Or
a
spray
white
paint it.
if you have a white van, realize that everyone thinks you're a kidnapper. Maybe write, I'm not a kidnapper on the front of it.
That'll make you a kidnapper for sure.
And it's all like broken down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
They bought it for cheap because the kidnapper, the other people who cared, sold it to them.
They should paint it.
They should spray paint it.
They
should wrap it with flowers.
Also, like a Camaro.
Oh, yeah.
That's also a kidnapper car too.
Ooh,
Like
that's a rich kidnapper.
those
I got picked up on a date in a white Camaro.
Well, they're the ones who are like pulling over and asking you for directions.
Oh.
The Camaro.
Snatch.
They'll snatch you in the Camaro. Yeah.
Snatch.
Yeah, that, or it was like the Buick. Like the Buick, like the big long boat. Cadillac Buick, like the big long one.
That kidnapper, he's so rich.
Yeah, Buick. No, because big back seats. There was like three. There was like three kidnapper vans, 3 kidnapping cars: Camaro, white van, and the Cadillac brown or Cutlass or something. It was like this big Cadillac Buick that was like long, like a cigarette, like long.
Oh, I know the car. I know.
Yeah, and it's like they like kind of stroll by and make noise, like, and you go by and they slow down, and you're like, oh, kidnapper.
I think those ones just do something bad and throw you away.
Kidnappers
In the backseat.
Yeah. So if you have any of those cars, get rid of them immediately. But yeah, white van still to this day lives on.